say to me in Bowers Game Corner.
Ahoy there, YouTube. I'm back again today for another How to Play video, and today I'm very excited to teach you how to play Skip Bow Masters. This is for 2 to 6 players, ages 7+. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take all the cards, you're going to want to shuffle them up, and then you're going to deal each player 15 cards face down like so. The goal of the game is for you to get rid of all 15 of the cards in this deck right here. But do not look at them. Place the remainder of the cards into the center where everyone can reach them, and then the youngest player is going to go ahead and draw 5 cards from the top of that deck. And at the beginning of every single turn that you take, you will always draw back up to 5 cards. Last, you're going to give each player 12 coins, and now you are ready to start the game. You can put the rest of the coins back in the box. You won't need them. Now, everyone should flip over the top face-down card they have, and now your goal becomes to get rid of this card so you can get to the next card and then hopefully get rid of all the cards in that pile. How you're going to do that is by playing cards from your hand, from this pile right here, and then from 4 other piles that you'll be allowed to have down here called discard piles, but we'll talk about those a little bit later. Where you're going to be playing these cards are in the center. You need to imagine that there are 4 spots right here where you can play cards. You can never have 5 slots up here, only 4. Now, if you want to start playing cards on the slot, you have to play either a 1 or a skip bow. A skip bow is just a wild. Whatever number you want it to be, that is what it is. So I played the 1 right here, and this is fantastic because now I can play my 2 from this pile, which is obviously how I'm going to win the game. I play it just like so, and I flip over another card, and looky there, it's a 3. That's super lucky. I get the 3, I flip over this, and if this were to run all the way down until I had no cards left, well, then I would just immediately win the game. Because as soon as you get rid of all your cards in this pile, game over. Now, you'll notice this 5 down here has a coin. We're going to talk about how the coins work in a minute, but first I want to teach you just how the basic game of Skip Bow works. So for the rest of my turn, I might place another 1 here, so now we now have 2 of the 4 piles in the center. And then I could use my 2 Skip Bow cards however I wanted. I could pretend that they would be both 1s right there. Or more likely, I'd probably just hold them in my hand so I can use them next turn. Now, how you symbolize that your turn is over is by taking one of the cards from your hand and placing it into one of your 4 discard piles. And you can play whatever card you want into your discard pile. They don't have to be in any special order. You can put skip bows down here. You can put cards with coins down here. But the rule is you can only take the top card of the discard pile. So let's pretend that the skip bow is also on this particular discard pile. I could not use the 7 until I use the skip bow to get to it. So once you discard a card down here, you have ended your turn. But if you had a fantastic turn and you played all your cards, so let's pretend in some crazy scenario, I played all the cards in my hand, I have no cards left in my hand. That means I get to draw 5 cards from the center pile and continue taking my turn until eventually I do discard a card. And yes, if I were to play all 5 of these cards, I would just keep going. Now, the numbers on the cards go all the way to 12, and when a pile in the center gets to 12, you're going to take all those cards off to the side, and then that slot will be open. Now, there is more to that involve coins, but I think you have the basic game of Skip Bow down now. But now let's talk about the 3 ways that the coins are going to come into play in the game. So the first way is you can use coins instead of a card. So what that means is, let's pretend I don't have a 4 here, but I really want to pay my 5. I can pay 4 coins, and I put them next to that pile to pretend that I've now played a 4. So how much you pay is whatever number it is. So I could also, if I wanted to, pay $8 right over here, and then I could pretend that there was an 8 on top of this 7. Now, the one big rule with this is you have to play the next card after you play the coin. So I could not just say, oh, this is an 8 now, and then not play a 9 or a skip bow. I have to do that. Now, the next way that you can use your coins is you can spend 1 coin and pay it to any other player, putting it into their money pile, and use any one of their face-up cards. Either their discard pile or their main pile. And remember, whenever a card is used from the top of your main pile, you immediately flip over a new card. The other player cannot refuse this, but you must use that card as soon as you purchase it. It can't go into your hand or discard pile. So the last way you'll use coins in the game is to pay tolls on some cards. What this means is that when you play this card, after you've played it, you have to pay the toll or your turn ends immediately. If you have the money, you have to pay it, and if you don't have enough money, you have to pay as much as you have. Now, why the coins are going next to the pile is because when one of these numbers gets to 12 legally, so let's pretend this just got to 12 legally, these cards go off to the side, and if you ever run out of cards in the middle, you shuffle up all the cards in that pile and then place them in the middle. This is now an open spot to play. However, the coins that were there are going to be dealt to the players evenly, starting with the player who cleared the pile. So this player cleared the pile, so they would get the first coin. And then going in turn order, which is clockwise, every other player would gain coins. until all the coins have ran out, which can mean that not everyone's going to get the same amount of coins. If you clear a pile, you're more likely to get more coins. But once you play the last card in your main pile like so, that player immediately wins the game, unless you want to try and play numerous games, in which case you could keep score, and the winner of each game scores 5 points for each card remaining in their opponent's main piles. So if there were 10 cards in this player's pile, that would mean that whoever won this round would get 50 points. They also are awarded 25 points for winning that game, and you go until someone reaches 500 points. But that's how you're going to play Skip Bow Masters. If this helped you out, please consider giving it a thumbs up. That helps me out. And also consider supporting the Patreon or subscribing as I teach new games all the time. Go have some fun, and thanks for your time, YouTube. This video is brought to you by all of my amazing Patreon supporters, and I would love it if you would join their ranks and have your name immortalized in the end of many of my videos for the end of time. But consider for only $1 a month. And as always, thanks for stopping by.